Hello, this is Pastor Rosemary's Final Prophecy Watch. 3 spiritual initiations of ancient Egyptians corresponding to brain science and Christianity. I'd like to share with you the 3 initiations that the ancient Egyptians used in order to initiate people into some of the mysteries. And I'm going to share these initiations aren't all of the initiations, but they're certainly the first 3 that we really need to talk about, because they're widely used. They're widely used in theater and hinted at, and certain words are used to trigger these portions of the brain. And you'll find out that all religions are actually teaching the same thing, and all spiritual systems are teaching the exact same thing. They're all teaching about states of consciousness, and they're all teaching about structures in the brain. And these states of consciousness all are expressed and projected and onto our reality and the screen of our reality. And everybody has a different language, but people have many different languages, and they fight because they have, they think they have different religions, but they really don't. The religions are actually all exactly the same. They're just using different stories and different words to talk about the exact same things. There's not really a need for people to fight or have conflict. So that's one of the main things I'd like to get across here. And again, these initiations are triggered by words and sounds and pictures and film. And it's good for you to know what you're being triggered into so that you know how to deal with it, because it's widely used in the media, on social media and all other forms of media. It's been used from the beginning of time in plays and initiations, and it's being used more and more. So if you know about it, you'll be able to recognize the trigger words, and you'll know what to do, because you'll know what they're suggesting to you. They make a suggestion, and it's a trigger. It gets you into a certain state, and then you behave a certain way and play out a script. So I'm going to start now. Again, these are the 3 spiritual initiations of ancient Egyptians corresponding to brain science and Christianity. The first initiation is the hippopotamus's couch of Egyptian religion. Hippopotami are mammals which are classified as amphibians. Hippos are also known as water horses. These African amphibious ungulate creatures, most dangerous while submerged at the bottom of the Nile River. That's when they're at their most dangerous, when they're underneath the water of the Nile River. A suiting allegory for the hippopotamus's couch is in relation to the Nile River being akin to submerged consciousness, or the state of the subconscious mind. During this commencement, initiates are in denial of their subconscious manifestations, corresponding to hippopotami being at their most dangerous while residing underneath the river of consciousness. The subconscious implication at this juncture is the brain structure of the hippocampus, with the suggestion being, the trigger word being, the suggestion being the hipster campus of the skull, or the school, correlating to learning and memory. The hippocampus presents as the student. The hippocampus is a portion of the limbic system of the brain which correlates with having emotions and reacting to subconscious films of past experiences, as well as subconscious stimuli which are projected onto the screen of the mind's eye. The second initiation, the cow's dream of Egyptian religion. During the cow's dream initiation, initiates are taken to the level of consciousness which find receptors in the limbic system of the brain. The suggestion at this commencement is that of the state of mind experienced by a domesticated land ungulate mammal. Dreaming cows are associated with jumping over the moon and the Milky Way galaxy and being lulled off to sleep, with the subsequent beginning of the dreaming state of consciousness. At this tier of consciousness frequency, the involvement of the entirety of the limbic system gives a suggestion of the use of big pens, where the pupil is actively dreaming during the activities of writing down the student's dream, to be later brought into the waking realm and interpreted. At this initiation, the middle brain acts as the conscious receptor comprising the totality of the limbic system. The limbic system or middle brain is also named the paleomammalian cortex. This paleomammalian cortex is a mammalian brain containing the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and the thalamus. The amygdala, corresponding to Mary Magdalene, functions as a mediator of an entire range of opposing emotions. Regarding the cow's dream, the hypothalamus, hippo's couch, or hipster campus, has already learned the state of the hippo and is at this point dreaming the student's dream. The thalamus is the next and third tier of the first three initiations. The third initiation is the lion's path, comprising a section of the middle brain identified as the thalamus. The thalamus controls slumber, alertness, and vigilance. Next and third, we have the third initiation, the lion's path of Egyptian religion. Lions are hunters and carnivorous land mammals of the genus known as Panthera. Lions are associated with royalty, kings, kingdoms, realms, and empires. During the lion's path initiation, the initiate experiences the frequencies of the state of consciousness, which is received by the thalamus structure of the brain's limbic system. Indeed, it is from the thalamus that the entirety of the initiation, where the initiate experiences sovereignty over all that she or he beholds as a queen or a king. At this tier, the initiate performs as a monarch. The state of ruling over a monarchy is experienced completely, with all of the powers and responsibilities that go with such a privilege included within the experience. The suggestion brought to the initiate by the brain structure of the thalamus is that of the alumni or former student, one who has been through the tests and has been through the graduations and is now a teacher or a king. Teachers, kings, and learned ones bestow the suggestion of Jesus, the Lion of Judah, the Messiah, which is known as the Moshiach. The Messiah, the Moshiach, and the Buddha is also suggested as the initiation trigger at this initiation during this commencement. The fact is, the thalamus, which controls sleep and wakefulness, being the Buddhist admonition to wake up. The basic stem of alumni is associated with the word alum, which has significant revelatory function. Alum is an astringent without color. Alum is a hydrated double sulfate composite comprising both potassium and aluminum. Alum is utilized for making colorants, staining preparations, and in medicines. The problem at this state of mind is that you begin to realize that people only care about you when you die, when you take a chance, when you gamble, or when you do something dangerous. That is the precarious message here, that the world gives to the lion in his den or to the dragon in his lair. The solution to the problem which the lion faces is that she or he must do the work, must just do the work. Don't worry about the numbers at this juncture. Keep the integrity of the body which you are creating. Build the body of Christ. Do not allow others to degrade your purpose, nor the veracity of what you have already produced. Create your body of work, as the cliche states. The lion's path is the thalamus, which relays sensory information to the brain, and is therefore the path of the receptacle of a flower, the inner chamber, or sleeping room where wedlock is consummated. The marriage bed, the thalame, or the lion's den, the tholos, or vault, the vaulted building named by some adepts as the vault of the adepti. This is from where nerves initiate, and therefore from where desires and their subsequent thoughts originate. So desires are first, then come thoughts. This is where the thoughts originate. You have a desire. The desire is given to you by divine providence. Then you get a thought. It activates the nerve. And you get a thought. I'm hungry. I want to eat. I want to have a salad. Something like that. And then your body goes and makes a salad and consumes it. So desires come first. And one way that people are controlled, quite frankly, is by giving them desires. And according to Kabbalah, we are not responsible for our desires because they're given to us by Creator. Okay? By the Creator gives us our desires, and we have no control over the desires we have. That's according to Kabbalah. And it makes sense. Because you didn't know you needed a computer until, my goodness, everybody had one. You have to have one too. That wasn't something you thought of. It's something somebody else thought of and put into your head through showing you pictures, right? So that's how it works. Now, controlling your desires is much more important than controlling your thoughts, because you cannot control your thoughts. Those feeding you your desires will control your thoughts. You won't have a choice. So control your desires and control what you're being fed. Be able to say no sometime and take vacations from something that you're constantly doing. It's very important at this juncture. Okay, now, again, we're going to go over that desires create thoughts, and thoughts form actions. Again, this is all Kabbalistic theory. Now, the word thought itself, the very word itself, thought, brings us to the idea of the Egyptian god Thoth, or Thoth, of Atlantis and Egypt. Before we can proceed on to the next initiation, we must become familiar with the history of Atlantis and Thoth's ancestors. Who is the father of Thoth? Thoth's father was Thotme, or Thotme, who was a revered priest and leader in Atlantis that was a go-between betwixt the being known as the Dweller and the citizens of Atlantis. Therefore, the initiations to follow are those of the Atlanteans known as Thoth, Thotme, and the Dweller. Now, I would like to also just share with you the names and some of the information about some books I'm going to be sharing with you more, and I'd like to just tell you what they are right now. The first one is Initiation, written by Elizabeth Hatch. The second one is The Lion's Path. No, it's called The Lion Path. You Can Take It With You, a manual of the short path to regeneration for our times, written by Museos. And thirdly, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, translation and interpretation by Dorial. A literal translation and interpretation of one of the most ancient and secret of the great works of the ancient wisdom by Dorial. Special blessings to Dr. M. Dorial and the Brotherhood of the White Temple for making this material available to seekers of light. And I'll be sharing those books with you. I'll show them to you and like to teach from some of those books. They're very high vibration books. This is Pastor Rosemary's Final Prophecy Watch. Thank you, and join us again next time.